1 Maccabees. He slaughtered many men and bragged about it. There was great mourning in Israel, and everywhere the people of Israel lived. The rulers and the elders mourned, the virgins and the young men trembled, and the beauty of the women became dull. Every bridegroom and every bride was sorrowful. The land rocked for the inhabitables, and all the house of Jacob was filled with shame. 2 years later, the king sent the chief collector of his taxes to the city of Judah, and he came to Jerusalem with a large force. He deceived the people by speaking of peace, and they believed him. Sounds familiar? But suddenly, he attacked the city and killed many Israelites. He plundered the city and put it to the torch. He tore down the houses and leveled the walls. He took the women and children hostage and confiscated the cattle. The enemy fortified the city of David with large and strong walls and strong towers, making a fortress for themselves. They manned this fortification with sinful and wicked men, supplying them with armor and food, while they collected and stored the wealth of Jerusalem, and they became a great threat. The fortress was an ambush as an ever-present evil in Israel. They killed the innocent around the sanctuary and defied the holy place. Because of them, the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled away, and the city became the dwelling place of strangers, and even stranger to her own people. Who forsook her? Her sanctuary was as barren as a desert. Her festival days were turned into mourning, her Sabbaths into days of shame. Her honor was desecrated. Her dishonor was equal to her former glory, and her happiness was turned into grief. King Antiochus issued a proclamation that all the kingdoms should be one people, giving up their own religions. Sound familiar? The Gentiles agreed to this, and many Israelites chose his religion, sacrificing to idols and ignoring the Sabbath. The king sent letters by messengers to Jerusalem and to the cities of Judah, ordering the people to follow the foreign customs of his kingdom, banning holocausts and sacrifices and the acts performed in God's temple. He also prohibited keeping the Sabbath and celebrating religious holidays. His laws defiled the holy places and profaned God's ministers. He also ordered altars and temples and idols to be built, and pig flesh and unclean beasts to be sacrificed. Children were not allowed to be circumcised, and they were to practice all kinds of morality. Evil, so they would forget the observance of God's laws. Anyone who failed to obey the king's command was put to death. Antiochus sent his command to his whole kingdom. He appointed lieutenants to govern the people and carry out his orders. All of the cities of Judah were commanded to offer pagan sacrifices. Many of the people that forsook the law of Jah came together to commit these evil deeds. They drove the faithful Israelites into hiding in those places and set aside for refuge. King Antiochus set up the terrible idol of Baal over the very altar of Yah, and similar altars were built throughout all the city of Judah. They burned incense and sacrificed at the doors of the house and in the streets. They tore it up and burned the books containing the laws of Jah. So as you see, this is the Inquisition. And the names were replaced and 66 books were removed, the Apocrypha, which means hidden knowledge, including this book. By the king's decree, they put to death anyone found with the books of the covenant or observing the law of Yah, and that's exactly what they did. So what they did to Jah's people, the bride, they're going to be doing now to the church that happens to belong to Rome, because it boomerangs right back. Thus, month after month, throughout Judah, they punished the Israelites for their faith. On the 25th day of the month, they sacrificed to the idols that stood above the altar of Holocaust. Women who had their children circumcised were killed by the order of the king. The babies were hung around their necks, and all who took part in the circumcisions were killed with them. Yet there were many Israelites who refused to eat profane food and chose death rather than profanation. They refused to break the holy law of Yah, and so they died. All over Israel, Jah's wrath visited his people. Also in this book, talking about profane food, a mother and all her sons died. She watched them die because they refused to eat swine or pig. So they killed all her kids in front of her, and at the end they killed her because she refused to eat it. Now they don't have to force anybody with their Christmas ham, Easter ham, roast pork, bacon. No, they don't have to force you anymore.
Followers of Yahusha the Messiah, Christians, we're about to find out. This is what's known as the Constantine Creed. It was an oath or a creed that you had to take in order to become what is called a Christian in 325 CE. This is shocking when I first read this. he renounced all customs, rites, legalisms, unleavened bread, sacrifices of lambs of the Hebrews, and all the other feasts of the Hebrews. Sacrifices, prayers, aspirations, purifications, sanctifications, propositions, fasts, new moons, Sabbaths, superstitions, hymns, chants, observances, synagogues, absolutely everything Yahudi or Jewish. Every law, every rite, every custom, right, they are told to deny, right? This is an oath that they have to take. They have to deny all the original faith. Look what it says here. Furthermore, any follower of the Jewish Messiah, Yahushua HaMashiach. Furthermore, any follower of the Jewish Messiah, Yahushua HaMashiach, who wish to join this holy community is compelled to adopt a different set of rules and customs. Wow, so to become a Christian, they literally had to renounce Yahushua, the Jewish Messiah. Or in other words, Yahudim Messiah. That's the true Hebrew word for Jew. And look what it says here. They accept all customs, rites, legalisms, feasts of the Romans, sacrifices, prayers, purifications with water, sanctifications, propitiations, feasts, and the new Sabbath, which is, in quote, So Die, day of the sun, Sunday. So there's proof right there that they changed the Sabbath. All new chants and observances, foods and drinks of the Romans, that would be pig. Look what it says. He absolutely accepts everything Roman, every new law, rite, and custom of Rome and the new Roman religion, which is Christianity. And look what it says. Christians must not Judaize by resting on the Sabbath. To be a Christian, you were literally not allowed to rest on the seventh day, the Sabbath day, but must work on that day, rather honoring the quote-unquote Lord's Day. Wow. Let me know what you guys think of
In the middle of the Americas. It's all a Roman corporation. Every time I see the Mexican flag, I see the Italian flag because it's exactly the same, minus the Roman eagle. The Rome, which runs Mexico, in fact, Mesoamerica, it's the center of the Americas. This is where the Jesuits came, installed their Inquisition. They're telling you in your face, if you know what you're looking for, the Roman eagle right in the middle of the green, red, and white. Exactly the same as the Italian flag, which comes from the Persian flag, which is horizontally green, white, and red. Because the Roman elite families, the Farneses in particular, the Orsini, the Pallavicinis, Aldobrandinis, they're all from Persia. They're all Iranians. From Persia to Italy to the Americas, Iran is still behind the Vatican. Iran is the source of this